My name's J.R. Logan. I am the director here at Makehaven, and under John's leadership and inspiration, we help to drive forward an initiative to get those initial 10 hotspots out there. Our motive really has been enthusiasm about what we can do with these devices once deployed. I want to hold some meetups and hackathons where we build some of these devices. And I'd love to talk to folks about how we might do such an event, in particular, if anybody's interested in helping coordinate, since I am distracted by other obligations, of course, and could use some help. So that's my brief. And you kind of introduced yourself, but you want to do your roundtable introduction? Then we'll go to Nick. Or we'll skip John. Nick McGee, you want to introduce yourself?
All right, yeah. My name is Nick McGee. I'm a mechanical engineer. I live here in New Haven, and I'm really interested in the idea of this democratized network, tearing down the big cable companies and distributing that service to local folks like you and I. And I like the idea of, being able to connect low power devices. And so, yeah, I'm interested in the helium. I love the beauty of the system where they've developed this this network that is rewarded with this new technology, and it's just inspiring and intriguing to me. So I'm here to learn more and be a part of the whole ecosystem.
Great. Marianne, do you want to unmute yourself?
There it goes. My system is saying I have an unstable connection, so I hope it keeps going here. John and JR are the ones that talked me into this, and I said, gee, sounds like a pretty good idea. Gee, I've wasted a lot more money than that on something a lot less interesting at times. So sure, I'll put one. And part of that was knowing that I'm over here in Fairhaven Heights, 100 feet above the river, well, 120 with the house. I said, I'll have a good broadcast area. So I bought one, and here I am. And it just sits there happily transmitting back and forth.
Andrea.
Hi there. I'm Andrea Rizzo. I work in New Haven. I'm an assistant principal over at Edgewood. I'm here. I know Mike and Nick. They've kind of talked this up with me. I'm interested in learning more. I ordered a Bobcat miner like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I literally had no idea what all of this was about. And so I talked with them about it. They're feeding me little bits of information. So I'm just interested in learning more. I live out on the Northford Durham line. And so when I looked at the kind of network, there aren't too many out by where I am, but I'm kind of interested to know what you foresee in terms of movement out my way and what that looks like once I actually get the miner. So that's what I'm here to learn.
Brenda and Rich.
You're good. You're in.
I'm trying to unmute.
You are unmuted.
Oh, yeah,
Go.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Brenda, and this is Rich. We have Eager Misty Spider, and I'm hoping to find out a little bit about wallets tonight, because at first it was like, oh, okay, well, whatever, it's in my iPhone, it's not going to do anything. Now I'm thinking, well, all this stuff shouldn't all be in one place. I should have like I know there's hardware wallets and computer wallets and different kinds of wallets, and I got to diversify, put it somewhere like.
So if you lose your iPhone, you lose everything, right?
Exactly.
That's what she's worried about.
Right. Well, I think maybe I should put it somewhere else. And I have some in Coinbase that I made into Bitcoin. What do I do with that? Shouldn't be in Coinbase. Should be somewhere else. So wallets. That's my interest tonight. Here's Rich. He wants to
Okay. My name is Rich. I'm a retired engineer, ham radio operator, and it's amazing because we have the original hotspot sitting up in the attic right now, and it's earning about 10 to 12 HNT tokens every night, and depending on the value of the HNT, we could roughly say we're earning about $100 a night while we sleep. So that gives some of you beginners some idea of what you can do. Now, my antenna is in the attic, and we're looking at the map of everybody we can communicate with. I'm quite surprised to see it reaching out to such great distances. But things are changing now, and that is the spring is coming up, and leaves are going to come out on these trees. And in fact, I'm thinking I'm already seeing some on other signal frequencies, some changes that are happening to sap is rising in these trees. And I'm wondering how much the leaves are going to interfere with this 915 megahertz signal. I'm expecting it's going to be harder to communicate. And so our ability to reach further distances is going to decrease. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what I'm projecting out. So the next thing I want to do is like what JR did. If you saw a picture of his hotspot, he put it in a secure outdoor weather container, put it up on the roof. And that's what I'm looking on doing next, because I know that if I get it up outside, higher than the roof, the higher the better. I'm going to be able to, my signal is going to go further, and I'm going to be able to be more sensitive to signals that are further away. So that's what I'm looking at right now. And we'll find out. But the interesting thing is we could watch the data on our connections because every time we connect with somebody, it logs in how strong their signal was in dBMs, which is minus dBMs, which says the strength of the signal that we heard in milliwatts. They're very weak signals, but I'm amazed at how good the radios work with those weak signals. So anyway, I'm hoping to find out more what's going to happen as the springtime blossoms. Is that going to affect, are we going to drop from $100 a night to $50 a night? I don't know. Let's find out. Anyway, back to, you got anything more?
No, that's it.
Okay, back over to JR.
Great. So we'll jump over to Ryan.
Yeah, I'm an electrical engineer, and saw JR and others getting involved in this, and they sucked me into it. I'm out in Trumbull, but got a hotspot and ran it lone wolf, and even now I've more than doubled the cost of what it was because I got into a consensus group once, and with that, it cost $250, and I'm up to 500 with zero beaconing and no one hearing me. But since then, 2 different people have installed it within what I would hope to be range if I improve my antenna setup. Right now, it's in my attic as well, but I'm trying to improve that to hopefully hit 2 people that I see popped up on the map now, also lone wolf, and then who knows who's going to pop up in the meantime as well. I also did some development on a Raspberry Pi with a breakout board to talk to one of these hotspots, so I could send arbitrary messages back and forth through the Helium network. And that's the whole other part of this that I'm still interested in, is actually end devices using the network. And I drove around with my little device and just could then review what hotspots I was hitting, and you get incredible coverage in New Haven now, where I was in weird spots in New Haven and I was just pinging, and I was hitting multiple hotspots all over the place. So there's a real utility, especially now with the density we have in New Haven, that you could build an application and you'll get good coverage, which is exciting.
Joe.
Hi, let's start my camera there for a second. Sorry. Joe Transu. I'm former shop manager up at Makerspace CT in Hartford. John Fitzpatrick and I had a venture that we were into for a little while and might one day still circle back to that. But I've been pretty fascinated with Helium ever since John put me onto it. I was a early believer in Bitcoin, like 2012 early believer. A lot of my friends told me that was a stupid place to put money and that would never make any return. I don't quite have the final last laugh on that because I lost quite a bit of my investment in the Mt. Gox implosion. But depending on how the Japanese banks handle things, I might eventually get a decent little payday. I'm also I'm sort of here just to see who all's playing along. I noticed a number of people there. Hi Lisa, hi Ben, so kind of just wanted to see what anybody else is up to and what applications are exciting for people. And I'm now at Trinity College, where I'm actually the technical manager, technical supervisor for Studio Arts department, which is sort of a weird place to be trying to get Helium onto campus, but that's what I'm doing at the moment, in addition to everything else I do there. So that's it.
And Michael.
Hi, I'm Mike Cuspa. I found out about the helium hotspots through John Fitzpatrick, and I've got one of the original 15 we ordered at Make Haven. Since then, I've purchased several more that I've got in the city. They're the rack hotspots, and I've got some more racks and Syncrobits on order. I found out about cryptocurrency through my coding club I had. And I found out from Southern Connecticut State University, they had some students there and they were talking about Bitcoin and Litecoin and other cryptocurrencies. So about 2 years ago, I started investing, luckily after the bottom dropped out of the market. And when I found out about Helium, jumped onto it just because of the crypto aspect. And I've been extremely pleased. And it's amazing, I tell you, how much you can learn about just electronics, business, cryptocurrency, science, and it's just amazing. So I'm here really to see how we're going to grow the network, how we're going to use the network, and see what connections we can make in the city to really educate people about this.
Mark.
I'm a bit of a gate crasher. I'm actually from the UK. I did a search on Facebook for helium miners. This event came up as an event, and I just thought, I'll try and pick your guys' brains. You've obviously got far more experience over in the US than we have in the UK. So just about your setups, the antennas that you're using, the coverage you're getting. I'm just interested in it all, really. I'm just glad that you've accepted me, because there's not many groups over here at present. Hopefully, I'll be an early adopter and reap the rewards.
Great. Well, welcome. We embrace everyone to hang out with us.
Thank you.
Jay, although I think you often don't have a microphone working. So Ben.
JR, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay? Cool, awesome. Ben was one of the lucky people who was talked into this by John and JR in the first 15. Definitely thought I was getting into this for altruistic reasons, for providing a network connection for local IoT sensors in our neighborhood, and aspirationally hoping that the entire internet could change on the back of this type of mesh network. Turns out that I'm in the 100x club that John pointed out before, because I know Rich appreciates this. We have a what I thought was a liability in our backyard that quickly became an asset, thanks to Helium, in the form of a 70-foot old radio tower, which is designed to receive radio waves from everywhere. So it's been really fascinating leveraging this tool that was built in the 1960s to get Channel 2 out of New York to help connect a bunch of different signals around New Haven on traditional radio waves. So it's been pretty cool. I will say, Rich, I also expect that foliage will take a hit. One thing I've become really interested in, aside from just New Haven's topography, since and the things that get in the way of radio waves connecting with each other, is just the minutia of which the difference of just a couple of inches or the direction of the antenna seems to have a dramatic effect at that height in terms of the number of connections I get. And so I imagine that's true for everyone. It's kind of hypersensitive, I think, at that height, where I can tell the little differences because we're connecting to so many. So I would love to know if there's a way to error and seeing how it runs over the course of a day after it's been moved. So I don't know. That's where my head's at right now, especially as more foliage comes on the trees and we get more interruptions. But thanks to JR and John, because this has clearly been a significant investment for us at this point.
Yeah, thank you. Doug.
Hi. Special thanks to John Fitzpatrick, I think, or JR or Ben, or I can't remember exactly who twisted my arm into doing all of this, but I have purchased an outdoor, all of the pieces for outdoor installation. I have yet to do it, but I was just guilting Nick McGee in the chat to help me. So I just needed an extra pair of hands. So thank you, Nick, in advance. I'm down by the water and I find that I have a lot of great range across the harbor. But otherwise, at this point, just interested in, I bought another one. I'm trying to find another location for it. My organization is interested in exploring the likelihood of using one of our downtown signal. We have a tower on one of the garages in the downtown. And my CFO wants to make some money. So we're exploring different options as well for utilization with regards to parking equipment too.
Nicholas.
Hi, everybody. So I'm a part of the Mike and Andrea Club. So we all work at the same school in New Haven. And Ben, we miss you, by the way. So hopefully we'll be able to get together soon.
I miss you guys too. We're not far.
I definitely want to check out the radio tower, by the way. So on that note, Mike Cuspa was the person who got me involved. I was pretty skeptical, kind of like Andrea at the beginning. I was like, I guess I'll pay $250 for this thing. So I got a cal chip off of him. Yeah, so it's been the absolute best investment. So I'm up in Westville. I just installed one of the cal chip antenna. So that cost, about $40 off of their website. Took a long time, of course, to get it. But I installed it on the outside of the house. Was able to put it in a pretty good spot. And so we went from 5 or 6 witnesses to 12 so far, and it was just installed the other day. So that may increase over time. So I think my piece to add to the discussion is just to encourage those of you who have them to get an antenna if you don't. And I am highly interested in learning about the types of antennas that are kind of helping focus and allow witnesses to go through the roof. So I'm just happy to be a part of this journey. I have 5 new ones on the way. So from all of those, I've been looking at all those emails for when they're going to be mailed out. So between the Nebras and more cal chips and one, I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's based in actually in the UK. Maybe that was the Nebra one. Anyway, there's one that's based in Nebraska, actually. Since it was a US based company, I was hoping that the shipping would be faster. So anyway, we'll see. And my question as far as that goes is if anyone has different miners from different companies, how do you manage that, in terms of the apps and everything? How do you manage that in terms of your time and whether or not you sleep at night and all those ways to try to organize all of that?
And Michael Harris.
Yeah, sorry, I've got a weird lighting situation going on in my place, so I'm just had to find the right spot. Echoing everyone's kudos to John and JR. I'm in a unique position, being downtown and on the side of a high building that has a balcony. Had to work through a unique challenge of having an apartment's windows that had gotten a UV treatment that blocked both Wi-Fi and the radio signal, but have worked out a way to snake a ribbon cable through the window and get it to an antenna mounted on the balcony. But I'm definitely aware of the directionality of, I can connect pretty well to about the eastern half of the city and have some challenges going west. Just had literally today somebody else pop up in my hex, and I'm trying to track them down, and they literally like post a sign to see what we can work out. But so far, I'm one of the medium bars in the middle of that graph, and I'm just wildly appreciative of both that investment opportunity and the potential to be part of something that is a transformation in mesh network and IoT. So thank you to y'all. And if anybody else is dealing with particularly a window connectivity issue, I did spend a decent amount of time figuring out the particular cable link just to get through that.
Great. Lisa.
Hi, everybody. My name's Lisa Lankor, and I am the chair of the computer science department at Southern Connecticut State University. I was not part of the original Make Haven group. I kind of stumbled upon, always been interested in crypto. Mike knows all of our students who've been crazy about it since like 2012. You know, with folks in my class saying, Dr. Lankor, do you know about Bitcoin? I'm like, what are you talking about? And every day they'd report, it's up to 30 cents, it's $1. And of course I didn't listen to them when I should have, but they did very well, and they're all doing very well. But I listened to a podcast and I heard about it, and the idea of bringing IoT and the blockchain and cryptocurrency together was like 3 things I was very interested in. I actually bought, I'm an Ambitious Banana Swallow, and that's at my house in Hamden here. And right before, I think the day before I received it, I saw Ben post a picture on LinkedIn that he got his hotspot. I was like, what? He's got one? So I reached out to him immediately, and then he told me about the initiative with Make Haven, and then IoT New Haven. So I jumped on and joined the group. And in the midst of all that, excuse me, I'm losing my voice a little. I jumped on Discord, which is where you can find all important information about things that are happening with Helium. And I wanted to learn as much as I could. And at the time they were giving away alpha codes, which are codes that allow you to build your own hotspot. It was at the time where Helium was the only one making the devices, and they were playing around with DIYs. So we built one. It's on the top of Southern Connecticut State University's Jennings Hall, and it is that's Funny Mercurial Pheasant, and it has awesome reach to all of the other hotspots in New Haven. One of my favorite days was when I got toured around the roofs of the building with the IT staff, and they said, Lisa, where do you want to put it? And we'd go on top of the library. I'm like, I can't quite see all the buildings in New Haven. And then we found the perfect spot, and it's doing great. I've bought some other ones, have had family install them, a few in Hamden. So going out more towards, Cheshire, Northern Hamden area. So we're trying to get coverage in Hamden. And 2 weeks ago, my brother had hired a cherry picker to trim some of his trees. And I'm like, forget your trees. We used the cherry picker to the peak of his roof. And I was in the attic as he was drilling. The owner of the cherry picker let my brother go in the bucket. So he was drilling into the house and I was in the attic. And of course he was going through some of the main beams, and I'm like, no, I can't see it. How could you not see it? And so he put a couple of holes into the house. Anyway, we've got that antenna mounted, and it is hitting New Haven. I think it's hitting Make Haven, or or JR, I think your hotspot, and then a couple of the other ones here in Hammond. It's been fascinating to learn about all this stuff. We are the first university to partner with Helium, so I'm very proud of that. And the announcement's officially coming out on March 31st. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And what we're really trying to do is get students excited about this and to build use cases around this and just let them, get creative. People mentioned SAP. Rich, I think you mentioned that, and Ben. And so for the first time this year, I got into tapping a maple tree in my neighborhood. And then I heard, oh, the big problem with people making maple syrup is once the sap starts running, it overflows the bucket. I'm like, oh, IoT sensor. So I don't have it quite working yet. And of course the sap run has finished, but the idea was to hang this over the top of the bucket. When the sap reached the top of the bucket, ping out and text that it's time to empty your bucket. So I don't know, just ideas trying to get we don't have students on campus right now. All of our computer science students are off campus. So we did have a couple of projects lined up for doing some parking applications for handicap spots on campus, where we would have sensors kind of embedded into the pavement or in the garages. I'm not sure we were going to get it actually embedded in the pavement, but students were going to build an app for those needing handicap parking to know where the spots are open around campus. Right now, every spot's open around campus because we're pretty much all online and remote learning. So those projects kind of got shut down, but we're hoping for the summer that we'll have some students building things. We're checking our range indoors in some of the buildings, and also we have some network closets that get overheated and they actually flood on campus. So we're like, what the heck? So we're gonna, I wanna help out IT because they let me tour the roofs. So we're just trying to build something for them that will help them out. I am interested in that UV window, Mike, because one of my nephews lives down in DC and he was around all of these, it looked like other hotspots, just according to the map. And he hooked his up and he didn't even get one token in multiple days. So he's like, I don't know what's going on. So one was he was in front of a screen. So I'm like, I told you can't be near the, so my nephew moved it to a window, but he's still having trouble. And a lot of the hotspots in that area too are not really connecting with one another. And now I'm thinking maybe some UV coatings on those windows might, I didn't even think of that. I was thinking screens the whole time, but that's all interesting. I'm going too long. So I'm just anxious to hear what everybody has to say. This is awesome and exciting stuff.
Derek?
So I'm Doug's brother. He told me to get one of these, and I'm here. I'm waiting for mine from CalChip. I finally got them to recognize that I have an email address so they could send me some updates. I'm very excited that happened last week. That's all I got. So really fascinated by what you guys are talking about. I have a kid at school in New Hampshire where they're actually really big into the SAP. So if you don't mind sending me one or two of those sensors, that would be great. I can put one of those chip boxes up there, and that sounds like a really fascinating way to do this. So thank you guys for letting me join, and I will stop now.
Steven.
Hi, everybody. So I found out about Helium from Bruce Seymour, and I've been talking to him about that. And I think as a technology, it's fascinating because it brings together blockchain, radio frequencies, IoT, and it's a new form of blockchain, which is driving adoption of real world activities. So I think it's a new kind of creature in that regard. And I'm also interested in the analytics side of it. I think there's a lot of very interesting data that is surfaced and will be important in how to optimize these networks from placement to antenna design, you know. And I think in some sense, there's a lot of individuals that are trying to fast learn to what a lot of cell phone tower companies have invested a lot of time optimizing. So I think it's gonna be a very interesting journey. And you know, I heard about this meetup and just wanted to hop on. And I think, Mark, you're probably from Burnley or something like that. I'm originally from Blackpool, so go Northwest.
I'm actually from Sheffield, but not too far.
Oh, Sheffield.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, wrong side of the Pennines.
The right side.